So as you can see, this is my Acrowot after a rather light landing. I've landed worse than this. Oh, there's Lothar on Rick's off in there waiting for the D7 build, and he doesn't look very impressed, does he? He's like, what the hell is that? This guy's going to build me a D7, and this is how he flies his Acrowot, and there's the D7 waiting to be built. So that's going to be a plane one day, and that's the pilot. What do you think, Lothar? Are you happy with my flying? 9. Alright, so this is the Acrowot. Came in after 10 flights, as I gave me B, funny enough. Training for my B, haven't got there yet, as you can probably tell by looking at its wreckage. So came in after 10 flights, rather light landing, just clipped the top of a bush. The plane came in, the nose touched the floor and shattered, as you can see. So I'm going to repair it. I'm going to decide to video it because a lot of people would just spend another 160 quid and buy a body for this, and they really don't need to. Most of the major components are still there, everything's in place, just needs a light repair job, which I'll show you how to do, and hopefully be able to save you some money in the future. And I'll just show you about how light the landing was. That's the propeller, completely untouched. So as you can see, it's been repaired before. I think that's why it broke so easily, so it's going to have a proper job done on it now. So I will get back to that, and I'll crack on and show you the next stage. Okay, so the first thing you've got to do when you get any kind of damage like this is get right back to the basics. So I need to strip down all the bits and pieces, get this sort of stuff, take these off, and then rebuild the pieces into a pattern. Then using the woods and stuff that I've got, recreate those pieces, put them all back together. So I'll show you as I do it on the camera. Right, so removing the engine, just find the bolts on the front. Try not to break anything as you remove it, obviously it's difficult, but removing the engine will allow me to use the engine firewall to remount it all back on top, because luckily where this plane broke, the top panel, oops, the top panel didn't break, so that will give me the straight true edge that I need. Which will help a lot when putting this baby back together. All you're trying to do is use the same wood where you can, clean out the grooves where wood fits, repair them, and then basically using plates that you've made, put it back together. Now the weight of the plane will increase marginally. Keep that to a minimum obviously, and then it doesn't affect your trims too much, but you know, it's like anything, when you're making the plane again, take off nice and confident, have a couple of trims set up, have the first one set up as it was, second switch with a bit more, and the last switch with a bit more, so that you can switch to them and alter it as you go, and then just trim it out like you would any normal plane really. You may need a little bit more up or whatever, if it's a little bit more heavier. Centre of gravity may be marginally changed, but nothing serious if you just follow the simple steps which I'm going to show you now. So let's just get this engine off. Okay guys, so that's the engine out. There she is. I'm not even going to take the exhaust off it or anything, I'm going to leave it all on. There's the choke bar, the engine's fine, none of the mixture screws have been touched. Everything's fine on this engine. Basically going to leave it as it is. Hopefully chuck it straight back on the model. Obviously less work. So put the engine aside. Nice and safe. As you can see, the old exhaust took a bit of a dent there, but it's given it a bit of a sporty look really, so that's alright. So put that aside. Now here you can see, let's move the camera, what's left. So what I've got here is obviously the engine mount, the firewall. Cable still running through. I don't really want to disconnect anything, so I'm going to try and keep it on there if I can. You can see where this is broken off from the top part. There's the bottom part, the panel which fits that way round, I believe. So that's obviously come out of there. So this particular piece I'm going to replace with a new piece. Put back on there, because this has been repaired before, so obviously I'll need to replace this piece now. You can only replace things so often, you know. Eventually you've got to replace something. Actually, I don't want to try and fit that there, because that actually goes in there, so that's where the wheels go, yeah. So I'm going to continue to clean this up and take some bits off, and I'll come back to you when I've done. Alright? Alright, welcome back. As you can see, the reconstruction is continuing. First thing you do, it's like a crime scene, yeah? Make sure you collect the bits. Now, a good friend of mine, Kevin Naylor, who taught me how to fly, got me through my A. This is why I'm like this, no, it's a joke. Basically said, collect your bits. And as you can see, look, firewall. Nothing wrong with it. These two side bits have been reattached. They're really strong. They're attached in two separate points, nice and strong and tough. There's nothing wrong with that. The grooves on here are still here, where it's just popped out. So literally, I can actually just pop it back on, and just with the actual fitting of where it should go, there's enough to hold it in place. So you can see you don't have to reconstruct too much. So, trying to keep the weight down, what I'll be doing is sticking back together the parts that I need, and then I'll be putting reinforcement strips in, a new plate on this side, and a brand new floor, because the floor seen better days. Put it back together, should be ready to go. So come back in a minute and I'll show you the next stage. Okay guys, if I pause that there for a second, you can see here the cracks and where the model shattered into three there. All I've done is I've simply slotted it back together using medium cyno to hold it all in place. Reattached all the battery, the side panels. There's a crack down the side there next to the little light bulb, which is the engine cut light bulb, and you can see that's got a little split, but the three areas here, here and here where it broke, you can see have been put back together with cyno. And what this does, this allows you to keep those angles, those all important angles and shape of the plane, thrust angles, that type of thing. So keeping those in place is really important. Coming around to the front, there's the firewall, that was completely intact obviously, and then moving around from the firewall to the other side, you can see on this side there was only one split, and that one split obviously just goes straight through the center just there, and then down there where the actual screw allowed the cowling to fit on, there was another split. So on this side there was only one split, so I think probably this hit at a slight angle, which meant that one side took most of the damage. So using medium cyno, you rebuild the fuselage back to its former shape. Obviously you would never fly something like this. This has to be reinforced now. It has to be reinforced using the same kind of light ply. And for the inside blocks, I'm replacing all the blocks with spruce to make those exceptionally strong as well. So yeah, as you can see inside there, the central plate is quite solid. That is just being put back together purely and simply to give me the distance for the sides, so that everything slots back into its old original position. And you know, maximum is you're going to be 1 or 2 mils out, which isn't going to make any difference at all to the plane. Not on a plane this sort of size, hopefully. That's the basic CSI rebuild done. So then moving on, we start to reinforce it.